All right, let's jump right into this deep dive. You probably saw the economic headlines for 2025, right? Just pretty grim noise everywhere. Everyone fully expected the economy to force digital ad budgets to just completely contract.
Oh, absolutely. Everyone thought the well was drying up. But we've got the ad clarity report in front of us today. It's titled, Where Digital Ad Budgets Really Went in 2025. And the punchline there is,
They didn't shrink.
right, not even a little bit, but, and this is really the key takeaway for you listening, the spend didn't shrink, but it definitely got ruthless.
And that's exactly our mission for this deep dive. We aren't just looking at how much cash was burned out there. We're figuring out where the smart money actually went.
Exactly, because the report identifies this very specific three-part engine that really separated the winners from the losers last year.
Yeah, let's look at the raw fuel first, because the resilience here is actually pretty surprising. If you look at U.S. accommodation and hotels, they poured $400 million into digital in Q4 alone.
Which is a massive jump.
Yeah, up 22% from the previous year. And then online retail marketplaces hit roughly $2.25 billion in that exact same quarter.
But you can't let those huge numbers fool you into thinking it was just a free-for-all out there. The real insight is the actual shape of that spending.
Right. If you look at the timeline, it is definitely not a flat line.
It's a pulse. We saw these massive spikes in Q4, but then Q1 and Q2 were, much softer. The whole concept of always-on marketing.
Where you just keep the lights on 24/7.
Right. That's effectively dead now. It's totally shifted.
It's become always smart. You ramp up when the credit cards are actually out, and you go dark when they aren't.
Precisely. So let's talk about the first part of that three-part engine we mentioned, the efficiency hack. If you needed scale in 2025, you went straight to social media.
The leverage here is just wild to me. I'm looking at the restaurants and delivery sector. Social generated 60% of their total impressions, basically the eyeballs on the ads, but it only took 35% of their spend.
I mean, that is the literal definition of arbitrage. You're getting the vast majority of your visibility for a minority of the cost.
Because the CPM, the cost per thousand impressions, is just rock bottom there. We're talking under $7.
And $7 is really the floor. In the grocery vertical, it's even more aggressive. Social drove almost 80% of their impressions. So the takeaway here is, if you want cheap reach and volume, social is really the only game in town.
But you can't build a massive brand just on cheap views alone. Which brings us to the second part of the engine, where the spending logic totally flips, right? Connected TV or CTV?
Yes, the attention play. If social is your megaphone, CTV is the theater. In that same restaurant category, nearly 50% of the entire budget went to CTV.
That's half the money for what was, the report says it delivered under 18% of the impressions?
Yep.
So you're paying, what, 4 times the price of social? The CPMs are sitting around $32 here.
It sounds super inefficient on paper, I know, but you have to understand the environment. You are paying for lean-back attention.
Meaning the user isn't just doom scrolling on a bus somewhere.
Exactly. They're sitting in their living room, watching a big screen. A 30-second spot there carries a psychological weight that a quick feed ad just never will. Brands are more than willing to pay that premium. That's also why online video is growing, taking about 15 to 20% of spend. It kind of blends that storytelling with slightly more flexible pricing.
Okay, so social is for the cheap scale. CTV is for the expensive prestige. That leaves one player totally out in the cold. What happened to standard display ads? The old school banners.
Oh, they're on life support at this point. The report literally describes display as a minor supporting character. The budget share is now in the low single digits.
Wow, from the backbone of the entire internet to single digits.
It's just a tactical tool now. It's purely for retargeting someone who already visited your site, not a growth engine.
So if you're a marketer looking at this data, the 2026 playbook is pretty obvious.
Very. The winning formula is simple social for scale, CTV for brand building, and a very thin layer of display just for efficiency.
And success really isn't about matching the huge budgets of the giants. It's about matching that specific channel mix.
Exactly. But I do want to leave you with one provocative thought based on all this. If social is purely for scale and CTV is for prestige, are brands risking major creative fatigue on social platforms? I mean, if they treat social just as a high-volume engine and save all their real storytelling for the big screen...
They're treating the feed like a junk mail flyer.
Exactly. And eventually people will treat your brand like junk mail.
Really makes you rethink where you're putting your best creative. Fascinating stuff. Well, thanks for joining us on this deep dive.